Hi everyone, it's me Cheryl. I hope you're all alright. I know it's been a few weeks since I last did a video. I don't know when the next one's going to be. It just depends what's happening in the house at the time and when I can get an opportunity to be on my own, because that's when I much prefer it. So I have some finished items to show you. The first one is the finished sock, because I know I showed you one sock and I was working on the other and it's done, and I can't remember when I finished it, but it wasn't long after. And I went straight on to making a hat. You'd have seen the style of hat before, but I'll show you this one. Excuse me. There we go. 2x2 ribbed hat. But I did the brim. It's a fixed brim with a provisional cast on and then join them and work the rest of it. I like the fixed brim. The only thing I don't like is black yarn. Even though it's like the easiest pattern ever, 2x2 rib, you know where you are with it and it's still hard. I don't know how that happens. But anyway, I don't know if that looks blue to you or whether it looks like a shade of grey, because I noted in the last hat I did, which is the same as this was green, and that will have looked like a shade of grey as well. But let me just show you them together. I'll come up a bit. I don't know if you can see the difference, but again that looks more grey, even though I can see it's also green. So let me show you another hat I made with the other one. The actual grey is long gone, so I've got some yarn left and I can show you that. And here's the grey yarn. Compare it with the green and also the blue. Okay, let's just do something like this. I don't think that's looking right for some reason. Let's see if we can balance this better so you can see all the colours together. How was that? So you can see this is definitely grey, that's definitely green, that's definitely blue. But, you know, I can actually, when I'm looking at that more, I definitely think it looks blue. But this is quite deceiving, even though I can still see it's green. Right, I also finished something else which I started it a few weeks ago in a totally different yarn that I got from Ice Yarns, and it was chain yarn, but also running through it was like the, you know what makes the yarn glitter, the long strip of silver. So that made it really stiff. But then I realised I was about halfway through, and in some places, you know, where you had to join the new ball of yarn, because they're only 50 grams, they didn't go far, it was starting to unravel. And it was the chain itself that was unravelled, because basically what it is, it's an I-cord, but it's not sewn at either end. So even though I was tying them, to tie them off, I still needed to sew in the ends. But even if I did that, I'd have snipped it and it still would have unravelled. So it looks like the only way you can actually work with that yarn is if you actually sew the end down with a needle and thread. But I don't really know how effective that would be. And I was mortified, but I wasn't really liking the project anyway because the yarn didn't feel right. It felt stiff. So at that point I thought, there's only one place for that. And I happily put it in the bin and the rest of it that I hadn't worked with. So yeah, that wasn't good yarn. Has anybody else ever used chain yarn and had that experience? And I don't necessarily mean one with the silver strip through it. I just mean chain yarn in general. Has anybody used it, and if so, has it been successful? Have you experienced the unravelling? Okay, but what I did make instead, I did find some other yarn that I had. I was going to make a top out of it anyway, but I didn't. And so I found this, and the pattern I used, I bought it off eBay, and it was like from the 70s, I think, because it was only 7p. Not for me, it was 7p originally when it was sold, with a yarn company in the UK that no longer exists. So that's how old it was. That's how old it was. So basically it's a jacket. It doesn't fit me, it's not for me. So I'm going to give it to my friend who, she sends things off to somebody who collects for various charities. So, and it's like a waistcoat jacket. and it's yeah, the shell stitches, but it worked. The stitches are worked upside down. I don't know if you can see that from there. And it goes all the way down to the bottom. Of course it goes down to the bottom. I mean, it doesn't end in anything spectacular, it just ends on a shell. So I really enjoyed constructing that. And it was so simple, really. But at least the yarn was much better for it, even though I'm not really keen on the yarn. I don't know why, you know, when you're using it and you think, I'm not really keen on this yarn, but I liked it way better than the ice yarns with the chain that kept unravelling. So, yeah, I like that. It was a nice project to do something and learn about the construction of this item, so I could maybe do it again in the future. And I've also been working steadily on the mitre square. I was nearly saying mitre corner, mitre square blanket. I'll show you the right way around. And I still haven't sewn in the ends, and I think because it was in so many bits when I pulled it out, and I was frightened I was going to have to pull it out again. Really, I think I'm over that now. I don't need to, definitely not going to pull this out. So I will sew in the ends. And that's what basically each square looks like. And I made it much bigger than I did originally. The original stitches were 41 and I did them 81. So, and I was going to do 4 rows. 4 rows, but I accidentally did an extra one, so 5, and I thought, well, should I do it 4 by 5 or 5 by 5? I don't know, but I'm on, which one am I on at the moment? 1, 2, 3, I'm on the 4th column, so they're the columns, or rows, whichever way you look at it, I suppose. And I'm looking forward to doing, like, picking up the stitches at the end and doing the log cabin style border, because when it gets to the join bits here, it looks a bit dodgy, so that'll neaten up when I get the log cabin thing down. So I'm really pleased with how that's going on, and it really has helped that I've gone down a needle size. I'm using, it's worn off. That's the disadvantage of wooden needles. The numbers wear off, but I know these are 3.5mm needles, and it's a much better feel for this fabric, because 4mm it felt too loose. Oh, I've dropped the last bit of yarn ball, so I was pulling this up here and it was unravelling, so I'm just going to leave it for now and pick it up in a minute. I think it might have been my last video that I mentioned a bizarre thing about my knitting needles, and I'm saying this is a 3.75, and I was using it thinking it was a 4, but what I used it for last time, it was a sideways scarf and a sideways hat. It didn't really matter because I worked on that gauge anyway, but I was thinking, I don't remember buying a 3.75 Knit Pro Nova needle tip. And I went through my email and I couldn't find anything, but that was because I was spelling Knit Pro as one word. The moment I separated the words, I found a lot of emails to do with Knit Pro. Now sometimes there were adverts from Amazon or eBay, so newsletters from places, and I've got the newsletter from Knit Pro itself. So what I did, I created a Knit Pro folder, and every Knit Pro email I found, I just dumped it in there, and then I went through it with a fine-tooth comb, bit by bit, and sure enough, even though, okay, I got the deluxe Nova set after enjoying the triple set, the 4, 5 and 6mm Nova needle tips. After really enjoying that, I got the deluxe set, but there were still gaps in there, and so at first I filled them in with Symphony, because they're interchangeable needle tips, they're fine with the cords. But I found with the smaller size needles, I didn't feel safe using them. I was worried about them snapping. So I thought, okay, I'll see if I can populate them with Knit Pro Novas. So obviously I did that at some point and I didn't realise, I'd totally forgotten. So I think I got 3mm, 3.25mm and 3.75mm, all from this totally different website I had never ordered from before. I had no problem ordering from them either. And mystery solved. They are indeed 3.75mm needles. And of course I've got 2 3.5mm Novas, because I'd lost a pen, I didn't know where they were. I was using them as a 4mm and I didn't realise. So I do try and keep notes now of the needles I'm using, the sizes and the projects. That helps. And I did get some more discs, the name discs, and so especially if it's a long-term project and then you forget what needle size is this I'm using. So that should help. I also lost a cable needle I was using for 5mm yarn. I couldn't find it anywhere, so I ordered a set, you know, the clovers, and they come in sets of 3, and I happily started using that with the hat I'm currently making. I'll show you it later. You'd have seen the type before. I've done it before and I enjoy the pattern. Ribs and cable beanie by the same designer as this pattern writer, Anne G. Her surname is G. I can't remember what it is, but she just writes Anne G sometimes. So I got the new set of Knit Pro. No, it wasn't Knit Pro, it was Clover. The arched cable needles, that's it. I say the arched ones, they loop around. I feel safer with them ones rather than just the straight thing. And then I was tidying up the room, going drawer by drawer last night, and sure enough, what did I find? My original one that I thought I'd lost. It's in a shawl that I'm working on, that I put down in order to work on Christmas stuff. I always put down stuff while I'm working on something for like Christmas gift, and I'm like, oh, it really annoys me that, and then it takes ages to get back to it. So that's what I'm trying to stop doing, by doing little projects throughout the year, which can be Christmas gifts, like hats. They're so easy. Anyway, that is everything that I've done thus far. And of course, as soon as I'm able to do another video and finish something to actually show you, of course, and that won't be long with the hat. The hat I'm working on, and have some more plans for hats with some yarn I got. I'm just trying to systematically go through my yarn stash and work on stuff that I can work on quickly, like hats, without overwhelming myself with larger projects. Too many larger projects. I don't mind a large project like that blanket. I'm happily working on that in the evenings. So it's always got to be something easy if it's large, hasn't it? Well, I say that, but there is going to be the odd challenging one, what I can't do in the evenings. Anyway, I think that's everything, and I've rattled on enough, so I will leave it there. Take care, everyone. Bye.